right. Welcome, everyone, to another and certainly bound to be interesting episode of How I Met Your Mortgage. As always, I'm your host, Adam Smith, with Just the Tips Coaching, and we've got a unique guest for you guys today. Those of you that have been following us for any length of time probably know our guest, as she was our regular co-host for a long time and had been our marketing director for a number of years and is now one of our creative strategists. We'll put it that way, since that's the quip I can read and will use. So welcome back to the show, as it were, Jenn Wayboer Hartt. Jenn Hartt. We're just Hartt?
I mean, I'll answer to any of it. So
to any of it?
Yeah, you pick. Hey, you works too.
Hey, you.
Whatever.
All right. Well, hi, hey, you.
Hi.
Well,
it's weird to
hi.
be on this side.
I like it.
It's kind of trippy.
I still think that we've got to find the occasional episode where you host the show.
I'd be down.
You'll have to reconnect with Ashley and see what you guys can come up with for that first show of the year each year.
Right.
Because that will be highly entertaining still. Two people who really aren't involved in the show legitimately hijacking the show. We used to always joke about you guys hijacking it, as it were, but that would be legitimate hijacking as
That would be fun.
All right. So, Jenn, you and I were talking. I mean, we talk a lot still. And we certainly talk about things that don't have anything to do with lead gen or client retention or team structure or all the shit we talk about at Just the Tips. Family, adulting, children, schools, just the on and on and on. Politics, media. Whew, man, there's so much going on in the world today. I am constantly commenting on how the whole world's a cartoon, but at least America leads the way. All right. We're number one in cartoon. But one of the things that we hadn't really talked about prior to today and have had some opportunity to reflect on was how people are dealing with social media these days and how the social media landscape has changed in, well, let's just say in 2025. Yeah. And obviously a lot of that was sparked with what we witnessed with the pseudo TikTok ban. And of course, I thought it was really interesting, and it took a few minutes for me to put all the pieces together, because one of them that was hard to ignore was Zuckerberg at the inauguration.
Yeah.
That one was really weird. So we started doing a little bit of digging, and we found out that Zuckerberg had also been at Mar-a-Lago several days prior to that. And the social media consuming audience suffered, for lack of a better term, a TikTok ban right in that same era. And if you tried to get onto TikTok in that window, you were actually given a push notification about how we hope that Donald Trump will save us. Jenn, are you getting that background noise, or is that just me?
I'm not hearing it.
Nope, now it stopped. Okay, so back to the show. So there was a push notification during the ban, and I am using that term loosely, that Donald Trump will save us. And then the ban, maybe 10 or 12 hours later, was lifted, and there was another push notification saying that Donald Trump saved us. And I'm paraphrasing. I don't know exactly what it said. And I wish I had taken screenshots of it. If any
I have them.
Do you? Okay.
Somewhere.
So those would be really cool to see again. But it's funny because you know full well that we have a close friend, client, and colleague at GoDaddy. Drew, who you've spoken with before. And Drew basically said to me that it's really weird that the ban... again, I keep wanting to use quotation marks, although I know most of you catch this as a podcast and not as a video cast, but that the ban was basically the same amount of time that it would take to do a server migration for any big company, and they would have everything set and ready to go, but that their client company would have to be down for 10 or 12 hours so that they could do that migration. And then IP addresses for TikTok were honed in on the same location, the same server data bank that Meta is using, and I think it's in Utah. Now, we'd always known leading up to the ban, I'm still using that term loosely, that there was always an offer for TikTok to sell the platform so that it didn't go away, but that
Yeah.
they swore they would never sell the algorithm. And of course, you and I both wholeheartedly believed and had told people on numerous occasions that it was the smartest algorithm in all the social media platforms for a long, long time. However, that seemed to change after the ban.
Yeah.
And we noticed a lot of other odd things, like there had never been a Facebook TikTok account or an Instagram TikTok account, and then there were. And that a lot of people were automatically following them without actually going and following them. Same kind of thing with POTUS and VP accounts. A lot of people who had not been following them were automatically following them. And then we started experimenting with unfollowing and blocking some of these accounts, and the algorithm almost returned to normal, at least as smart as any meta algorithm would be. But I don't think there's any question that we suspect TikTok is now a piece of meta, that meta's involved anyway.
And there's another piece to that algorithm is I think in my personal user experience, the Reels algorithm is a lot closer to that TikTok algorithm than it used to be.
Of
The
course.
Reels algorithm is a lot smarter than it was in 2024.
Okay, so you take all these weird coincidences and you put them together, and I am so far from a conspiracy theorist that
Same.
it's unbelievable. But I do think that there was something afoot here, is something afoot here. But
Yeah.
let's take all of this data, all of this information, all of this content, all of these suspicions, and let's roll that into the fact that we've got to remain focused on the fact that the ultimate goal for all of you out there in our prospective audiences, both mine and Jen's, is that what you really want is more people consuming more of your content all the time. And big thanks to Gary Vee for enlightening us on some of that, because more people consuming more of your content. That's what it is. And I don't care what you think your content is. We just happen to use that term a lot when we talk about video being distributed on social media. But if you're a
Yeah.
networker and you like one-on-one, shaking hands, kissing babies, whatever, the shit that comes out of your mouth is your content. So if you want to be big on networking events, go be big on networking events. But again, make sure that more people are consuming more of your content. Maybe you're the one who mails out those postcards every month that enables me to buy a muffin and get a free muffin. That's your content. We just want more people consuming more of our content. We just happen to use that term content in the social media arena more often than not, and that's what people kind of relate it to. So I think it's important to understand that we need to maintain that focus. Social media is an audience. We need to be using it for those purposes. And if we can take everything that we learn about being a content creator on social media, and I don't care if it's copy or graphics or video or short form video or whatever that happens to be, that we take what we learn from being a content creator and apply it to being a content consumer to
Yes.
make our social media experience as a content consumer more enjoyable. Now, this is something that really fits into your wheelhouse for a number of reasons: your education, your background, what you do with your current clients, what you still do for Just the Tips and for our mortgage company, on and on. So you've got to have some insight. You've got to have some ideas, some tips, some strategies on how people can not get distracted by the bullshit. Priority number one, and then continue to be in a place where content creation is going to result in more people consuming more of it, and how to take that into your content consumer social media activity and have a better experience. So, putting you on the spot.
I mean, it's pretty simple. What you interact with, you're gonna see more of. It really is that simple. And as I mentioned, I do think Instagram's algorithm has shifted big time to be smarter. And I mean, we can all talk politics. We'll try not to go there for too long.
Let's not.
But the big thing for me is books. So there was a book released in January that has a huge following. The author is actually local in Colorado Springs. It's called Onyx Storm. It's the third book of a series. All I saw for a week and a half on my social media content was stuff about Onyx Storm because I was interacting with it. Didn't matter if it was Instagram, or I would say Instagram and TikTok. Facebook is still kind of the outlier in this. But I was interacting with that content. I was sharing it with my friends. So the algorithms, oh, she wants to see this. So my entire feed was about Onyx Storm. And it took me searching out other content again for my feed to
get
adjust.
back to it. Okay. And let's not deny any of that kind of activity still going on either. And you and I know that it's still better than the alternative. But a good example is I had lunch with a friend on Friday, and she had actually recommended to me, and I know this is weird, a specific brand of underwear. And how the conversation of underwear came up, I don't know. But she sent me an email for this particular company. And then I started seeing it in my social media feeds, particularly Facebook. Particularly Facebook, although I think Instagram as well. But obviously, we know that there's targeted advertising. That's always been the case. The alternative is all of us having to pay for Google, having to pay for Facebook. So I prefer this. If I'm going to see ads, they may as well be targeted. I don't have any need to see ads for baby food.
Agreed.
Or feminine hygiene products. But for boxer shorts, yeah, that's something I'm going to eventually buy again. Those of you that know men, we pretty much wear them out until somebody buys us new ones for Christmas. But nonetheless, we'll leave that for another time and place. So, yes, the microphone is listening. The browser is watching. And you and I used to joke all the time coaching clients through Facebook that Facebook knows when you're going to the bathroom. But Facebook knows when you're going to the bathroom. If your on the pod activities include surfing videos of kittens, then I promise you the social media platforms and those algorithms contained within know that's what you're doing, and they know what you're doing while you're doing it. By the way, I do think that's only the only real form of multitasking. Is if you're going to the bathroom and surfing videos of kittens, that's something you can accomplish two things at the same time and do it really well. The rest of it, I think you should focus more on a task at hand. I'm not a big believer in multitasking. But I think it's important to understand that this is the way that it's always been to a degree.
Yeah.
Are we more aware of it now? Absolutely. And can we do things in our social media activity, both content consumption and content creation, to make that a better experience on both sides? So one obvious one of them, you already said, go look for other things. Because it will bring you more things. Right.
Yeah, I mean, so fun fact, there isn't much out there for ideas for adoption celebration parties, and I happen to be throwing one of those parties. There's not a lot of content out there. It is a category that there is not a lot on TikTok. There's not a lot on YouTube. I'm having to dig for ideas.
Okay.
But I searched for adoption party ideas.
I'm going to be at that party, so I expect you to find good content.
I know.
Keep
I
digging.
know.
All right.
But I looked at 2 videos on adoption party ideas on TikTok, and now this morning I'm getting endless adoption party recaps. There's still not much there, but all it took was clicking on 2 videos for TikTok to be like, oh, she wants to see this. And I think it's funny because on TikTok, we're all fascinated. We interact with content. It shows us more of that content. But flip to Facebook and Instagram where it's ads, it suddenly feels like they're encroaching on our lives. But it's the same thing. It's what you're interacting with. It's what you're talking about. I mean, how many things do you click log in with Facebook on? All of that shit's connected. It all talks to each other. Like that, it's all the same.
It's really one or the
Google.
other. Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't have to remember another password, hell yeah, you're gonna log in with Google or Facebook. But it's not only the content you search for, but probably more than that, the content you interact with. What are you commenting on social media? If you don't want to see political content, use that beautiful see less of this option on Facebook, snooze people, and don't even stop your scroll, because these algorithms know if you slow down, if you are looking at that content for more than half a second, you better believe these algorithms are smart enough to know it. Absolutely. Just like on TikTok, it knows if you watch more than like a second of a video. So
even when I'm not doing it intentionally, if I stop scrolling through Facebook and move on to another window, another app, whatever the case may be, and then come back, start my scrolling again, it's going to bring me more content from that content creator.
Yes.
Okay, so this is really important because let's talk about this in the space where we're content creators, mostly for small business,
Yeah.
whether they're real estate agents or mortgage originators. Who else have we worked with over the years? Financial planners, insurance agents, divorce attorneys,
Yeah.
air purification filter salespeople. That was an interesting one. That guy's amazing. But how do I then get my social media content to be a place where people stop scrolling? Whether they're actually focused on the content or not, I want them to stop because the next time they're in, they're going to see me again. Now, you and I always talked about things like in Facebook, if you're doing graphics, if you're doing video, don't use Facebook Blue. Don't use that color blue in your graphics. Don't wear that color blue. We've got a real estate agent local to Denver that we've worked with. All his profile photos are of him in that Facebook blue shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's the kind of mental apathy where people see that Facebook blue and just keep going. Okay,
Yeah.
so we've been working on that for years. Use contrasting colors, use contrasting fonts, these kinds of things. What else can people be doing to make sure that they stop the scroll?
Yeah, so I think this comes down to the quote unquote ROI of social media, which I'll give major credit to Josh Pitts. He's one of the first people I talked to about this. And in my line of work, I get asked that all the time. Like, Jen, if we're going to hire you for 12 social media posts a month, how much business is that going to bring in? Well, it's not that simple.
Yeah, I don't know how we
It's not.
calculate.
But the ROI on social media.
0.849.
Yes, exactly. The ROI on social media is really impossible to calculate because it's one piece of the puzzle. So I coach people to not get stuck in the numbers. And a great example of this, let's talk Instagram right now, is there was a new study put out at the beginning of the year. And we know everything's been about short form video since COVID, pretty much. That's when we all got bored enough to finally download that weird TikTok app and we all got hooked. And then the other, I mean, we all danced. No. But that's when we all moved to short form video. Well, what's interesting on Instagram, what the stats are saying is yes, short form video is going to reach the most people. By far, it is going to reach. Carousels, so for those that might not know, carousels are anything with still images that you can swipe through all on one post. Nearly everyone has the capabilities for 20 slides now. It was 10 forever. They finally doubled that to 20. Carousels get the highest engagement of any content on Instagram right now.
On Insta, okay.
Yes. So they might be seen by less people, but more people are stopping and scrolling through them and liking, commenting, sharing, and saving them, which is the best way to boost yourself in the algorithm. Carousels by far. And if you want to take it a step further than that, integrate video, because thankfully they now let us put videos in our carousels. In a carousel, because it used to be either you had video or you had still images. Now we can do both. And so integrating video into your carousel. So I have a client who's a meditation coach in Bozeman, Montana. So we will talk about her programs, and at least one slide will be a video of her actually talking about it. Because we know video is the number one way to get people to know, like, and trust you. There's no question about it.
Okay, I literally thought you were going to say a video of her meditating. Like,
I mean, sometimes the backgrounds are of her meditating, but she gets incredible engagement. On a side note, if you do choose to integrate video into your carousels, they do cut them off at a minute for whatever reason. You know, even reels are 3 minutes now, but they do cut those carousel videos off at a minute. So I think it's really paying attention to what's going on in these algorithms, not getting stuck, especially in those reach numbers, which unfortunately both Facebook, well, we'll call it Meta products, Facebook and Instagram, they will tell you reach before anything else. We don't care if you're reaching 500,000 people if one person is interacting with it. It's the engagement that matters when you're a small business owner, when you're an entrepreneur. It's that people are stopping long enough to like, comment, share, and save. So paying attention to the algorithms, utilizing carousels, especially on Instagram, and not doing the same shit that everybody else is doing.
Oh, purple cow.
We talk about this all the time. The purple cow, getting out of the gray area, not being afraid to offend people, not being afraid to repel the people you don't want to work with anyway. And
Just
that's
and
the
doing
boring shit
things
in
that other
social.
people won't do.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
I mean,
really the big piece of the puzzle.
we all see, I mean, we pick on realtors a lot, but we all see the same realtors just posting the boring images of their new listing.
Yeah.
And people are just scrolling by that, or worse, using the purple house on Canva as an ad for their
I
open
can't believe you
house.
went there.
I have to go there. The stupid purple house.
So scroll past the first row of images when
Yes.
you're doing Canva if you're making graphics that include a single family home. Okay, I love the purple house. It's just such great ammunition to make fun of people. We know you're Canva lazy. If I see your purple house, I know you are Canva lazy. That really,
100%.
like the epitome of Canva lazy. That one really strikes a chord. The one that always cracks me up is the closing picture with the cardboard cutout, whether it's a frame, a cardboard frame, or a cardboard key, or something to that effect. But I think, and obviously, you know full well that the vast majority of our coaching clients are in mortgage and real estate. And they're fairly relatively boring subjects unless you happen to be in the throes of buying a home, selling a home, financing a home. Then your radar is a little more in tune for it. But probably know that one of our coaching clients and I had the opportunity to tour the new HomeBot facility, which is crazy. It's not that new. It's been almost 5 years.
Oh my God.
And great facility, and thank you to everybody at HomeBot for having us out. We really, really enjoyed that. We really enjoyed learning some of the new tools and things. But we talked a lot about the fact that so many HomeBot users are making so many missteps in sending out content through that platform to their audience outside of HomeBot's normal content because nobody cares. I do not care as a consumer. I care as a mortgage originator, but I do not care as a consumer what mortgage rates did this week. I have a mortgage. I'm not getting another one right now. When I'm ready in another year, let me know. But that has got to be specific. Now we're talking about people creating content that may actually be dwindling an audience.
Absolutely.
Which is really painful to watch people do content that is creating the exact opposite result of why we do content of any manner, because we want more people consuming more of it. And if we're doing things that are detrimental to that, it's like the stab in the chest. It's awful.
Yes. And I will say there is some content that you'll get lower engagement, over time higher views, that I do think is important. And you and I have always talked about LinkedIn as your online resume, and that stays true. But I think all of our social media profiles are becoming online resumes of their own creative whatever.
Sure, just with a different audience.
Yes. So let's say somebody's looking for someone for social media management. Somebody tags my business. They're going to go look at my Instagram, my Facebook, anything that's public, and they're going to decide whether or not they're going to reach out to me. So big content that often gets lower engagement that is important is testimonials. And that's something, especially written testimonials, it is very hard to get people to record testimonials for anyone.
Video testimonials are tough, no question.
Yeah, and those would always do great. But you still need, even those written out in a Canva template testimonials are important. You're not going to get 150 likes on a written testimonial, but they are important for people coming to check what your business is about, because it's always more important what other people are saying about you, not what you're saying about yourself.
Oh, so have a review campaign in place.
Have a review campaign. Yeah.
An entire module in our coaching program.
Yes.
Review campaigns. Very big. That's really valuable. And another thing that really strikes a chord is that we've talked about this for a long time, and it may have even been prior to you and I meeting, but we did do a couple of video workshops in lovely Vacaville, California. Actually, the latter of the two ended up in San Francisco. But one of them, we did focus on third-party endorsement videos. right? These video testimonials. And I remember recording a couple just as we were kind of round robining. One for David Goldberg in Ohio, a fantastic mortgage originator there. The other for Lindsay Sills, now Lindsay McCoy. She was not married at the time. I went to their wedding in between then and now. Also California. But I think it was really important for us, even in those early stages of what was going on with video and distribution through social media channels, that we were being taught, and thank you to Brian, with well, let's think big work small at the time. Now it's the daily, oh my gosh.
The National
the National Real Estate Post.
Yes.
Thank you. Because he instilled in us in a very early stage in this game of video and distributing through social media that those video testimonials, those video reviews were going to be ridiculously valuable.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was kind of fun and kitschy for a colleague to be doing it for another colleague. And obviously that did pay some dividends. It was either that trip or the one before or after, I can't remember, where Lindsay and her husband, who owns a real estate company, and I all became such good friends. And Lindsay and I basically now have sister mortgage companies, the CORE, Colorado Real Estate Finance Group, and the CARE, California Real Estate Finance Group. And we've all been thick as thieves ever since. So, yeah, very, very valuable stuff from those trips early on in the days of, why are you still not doing video education?
I mean, if you work with a company, if you're an entrepreneur, business owner, real estate agent, whatever, and you love them, leave them a video testimonial. Like,
oh my God,
it is so hard to get them, but we all suck at giving them too. And taking this, it literally will take you a minute to 3 minutes out of your day to record, and it can make a huge difference for other small businesses. It's like,
and I think that's important to understand, that it literally is just live, raw, unedited. We don't care about lighting. We don't care about backgrounds. We don't care about wardrobe. We don't care about any of these things. Nope. And that may be part of the reluctance, because when we do work on video, short form, whatever the case may be, well, short form all the way through high production, we do think about those things.
Absolutely.
But we don't have to in this environment.
No.
For somebody to record and post literally 60, maybe 180 seconds, as you said, to, give somebody such a business bolster. And here's another good tip for those of you that are in that entrepreneurial, self-employed business owner space, doing that for someone in that space. They're probably gonna reciprocate.
Exactly. It just like the LinkedIn, what do they call them? Endorsements. Like, if you do one for somebody, they're probably going to do it for you, but just take the second to do it for somebody else. Because again,
recommendations. I can't remember which is which.
Oh, recommendations. I think you're right.
Yeah.
You can endorse people for different skills, or you.
But that's just clicky. You can click endorsements, but you can actually write a recommendation. And odds are good if you do that for somebody, they'll do it for you.
Yeah. But again, those written testimonials are just as important, especially people searching you on Google, on Facebook, on, even Zillow. But when you share them on social, don't expect them to quote unquote go viral. But that doesn't mean people aren't going to see them. And they are important to be on your grid, on your feed, so people can see very easily what other people say about you.
That's huge. I don't know how we went down this road.
I don't either.
And here's another interesting one. We already burned our half hour.
I know. I just saw that.
Shocking. Like we wouldn't. Anyway, talking about this stuff, though, I know it kind of seems, at least to you and I, where we work on this stuff all the time, that we kind of went down a rabbit hole there, but we didn't. This is still very basic, very common sense social media type of content creator activity. And it's just really important for people to get a grasp on. I do think there's some other things that you and I have experienced together over the years that are really, really important, like back to the TikTok ban. And I'm using that term loosely. We don't build on rented land. Any of these platforms could be gone tomorrow. And of course, as more and more of them seem to consolidate into the Meta empire, You never know. Gosh, if we woke up tomorrow and Facebook, Insta, and TikTok were gone. Oh, yeah. Even Jen, who knows this rule, thinks that would be a very, very big deal.
If you're not seeing newsletter marketing in 2025, get your newsletter going again. We're seeing higher open rates than we've seen in a long time because people are sick of social media. They haven't trained their algorithm, so they're seeing all kinds of shit that they don't want to see. So they're going back to email. People are reading more emails. And a quick tip on that is the number one reason people unsubscribe from email is because they don't remember who you are. So no, don't email people every day, but a weekly email or a bi-monthly email is totally fine, but don't pop into their inbox and then disappear for 6 months. And I say that because I did that. So
okay,
now I have a regular email.
Got it. Good to know. That's actually a really hot tip. But I think what I really want for people to understand in closing, as it were, is that, the whole world's a cartoon. And things happen in the world and the media gets a hold of it and it's more cartoon. And then social media gets a hold of it and it's way more cartoon. But you have the power as a content creator, particularly in social media, to take what you learn about being a content creator and transfer that into being a content consumer and make social media a better experience on both sides of the coin for yourself.
Yeah.
Don't fall into the trap that you're trying to make sure your audience doesn't fall into.
Yeah, absolutely.
Humans, we're pretty weird. We are pretty weird. All right. So I guess, I hate to cut us. We're not short, but man, I've got a couple of holes in the calendar for 2025. I trust you're willing to fill one of them. Yeah. I think the only one I've been really hardcore about is the Monday after the 4th of July, which I think is a Friday this year.
Yes.
And Monday, October 13, because that's my birthday.
And my anniversary.
And your wedding anniversary. Oh, shit. Maybe we should do that day. No, maybe not.
Yeah. My husband will be at work. It's not like we're going to celebrate on that day. So.
Oh, that's...
It's a Monday.
All right. Well, Jen, thank you for being on the other side of the show here with us. And we'll do that again in the not too distant future. Congratulations. It's been a big couple of years for you business-wise, family-wise. You are about to legitimately be someone's legal parent, no longer guardian. That's huge. And for those of you that don't know Jen personally, go check her out because her story is pretty special. Her background is pretty special. How she got to Colorado, how she came into contact with us, how she became a wife and mother. All of these things are pretty damn special and unique. And her story, her journey has been really, really cool. And what she has taken from that from an education perspective and is able to pass along to her audience, her clients, is invaluable. I just can't express that enough. Jen, how do we find you?
Yeah, everywhere is Jenn Wayboer Hartt, and
you're
Instagram,
not hiding.
I'm not hiding. You can
not dodging the IRS.
Nope. 2 N's on Jen, 2 T's on Hartt. You will find me on all of the platforms.
Not mistaken, the website is jenswayva.com.
Just jensway.com.
Just jensway.com. JENN.
Yes.
2 N's, guys. Don't forget the 2 N's.
2 N's on Jen.
JENNS way.com.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you. Miss you.
Thank you.
I guess we'll get to see you soon.
Yes.
And I'll see you in the not too distant future because we'll have some joint coaching sessions with some of our clients here. Okay, so this will be fun for you because I have kind of taken over your role of making sure that our audience knows what the hell actually goes on at JTT. And if you would like more episodes of the podcast, videocast, you can catch us live on Monday mornings at 9:30 Pacific, 12:30 Eastern on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. A mere 48 hours later, you can catch the podcast on Apple, Spotify, and Amazon. And if you would like copies of the books I've written, Just the Tips or Mindset Tools for Sales, or if you want to catch our weekly video blog, our vlog, The Weekly Little Tip, Or if you want to find out about our annual sales conference, the Mile High Mastermind, you can check out justthetipscoaching.com and find all that stuff and probably some things that I forgot about.
Good job.
I'm doing it
Good job.
okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
This used to be your role. So
It's true.
Heavy weight to try and pick up where Jenn left off. All right. Well, Jenn, thank you for doing it. I know carving out this kind of time on a Monday morning is tough. We'll do it again for the rest of you. Thanks for tuning in, watching or listening, live or in syndication. And we will see you next time.